Guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well. Today we're talking about the Phenyx Pro PTM-33. Why this system? Well, honestly, it's because I'm putting one in our youth space and I've got one available to talk to you guys about. But I wanted to make this video more so to tell you what the Phenyx Pro systems can't do. They do a pretty good job of telling you what they're designed to do, but there's some gray areas in there that they don't say yes you can or no you can't with it. But there's a few guys out there that have proven either yes you can or no you can't, and so I wanted to put that information into this video. When I first started researching this project, this upgrade project I'm doing in our youth space, I was first looking at the PTM-22. It's a dual channel system that you can get 4 belt packs with. Now, unfortunately, you cannot do what's called mix mode with that. If you're familiar with the Shure systems, like the PSM 300 or 900, you know that you can take 2 belt packs, sync them to one transmitter, and then one belt pack gets just the left side and one belt pack gets just the right side. You send a separate mix into each side, and you can basically get 2 IEM systems with one if you have 2 belt packs. Unfortunately, the PTM-22 from Phenyx Pro does not do that. Yes, you have 2 separate mixes, and there's a left and a right input. You can also sync 2 belt packs to one of those mixes, but you don't have a way to pan the belt pack left or right to get 2 separate mixes out of one channel, unfortunately. And that was a deal breaker for me. So we needed 4 separate channels. So what I'm doing, we have 7 musicians on our youth stage, or 7 spots on our youth stage. We have 4 on the front. This is typically 2 to 3 guitar players and a singer, or 2 guitar players and a singer, or something like that. And then the back line is keys, drums, and bass. So what we're going to do is hardwire the back line. Keys and drums are already hardwired. We're just going to turn the bass players pack into a hardline pack. And then the 4 wireless are going to take care of our front line. So let's go ahead and dive into the belt packs and see what they have to offer. This is your belt pack. It is plastic. It's not metal construction. It's pretty sturdy when it's closed and together. I wouldn't put a bunch of pressure on this screen. It is a little flimsy. Like with the Shure metal belt packs, you can sit on those and you're not hurting them as long as they're locked. But these, I would advise you don't leave this on your pocket or your belt and sit on it and lean back into a chair with it. But my biggest gripe with this belt pack, and you see me struggling to open it, it does not have buttons on the side here. It's just these little tension clips. And so it stays securely shut well, but it's pretty difficult to open. That said, the door itself and the hinge feels pretty flimsy. So I would just be really careful when you're changing batteries in these. That said, on the top you have a volume knob that's also your power switch, so your on-off switch, and then your volume there. Next to it is the port for your 3.5mm headphone jack for your IEMs. My one gripe about this is that if you have a right-angled jack, it's probably either going to hit the volume knob or the antenna base here, so just be aware of that. More and more of these belt packs are coming with it in the center. I don't care for that, but it is what it is. And then, of course, you have your antenna here on the end. Here's one thing that I do like about this. This is a flimsy antenna, so I'm not worried about like necessarily it getting caught or bent or bound. That's kind of nice. On the Shure stuff, you have these rigid antennas, and if you're not careful and you crunch one, you just cut that antenna in half, essentially. So that's really nice. It's got a sturdy clip on the back, and the holes for the clip are right on the seam where the 2 pieces of the pack meet. So it's relatively sturdy. I like that a lot, and it's got a decent weight to it. So I'd feel comfortable putting this on my back pocket or my belt, something like that. Now, moving on to the transmitter itself, you get 4 individual mix channels. So there's a left and right in for 1, a left and right in for 2, 3, and 4, essentially. So that's nice. You can get stereo out of this if you want. You still don't have a way to pan the belt pack. It's the same belt pack that comes with the other 2 models, but this one does allow you to have actual stereo capabilities. Also on the back, and I'll show you in a second, on the left it actually says mono. So if you just put one line in, to the left side, it knows, hey, you're just running into mono, and it sends that to both sides of your ears. So I like that a lot because that's exactly what we're going to do with this. That said, let's take a look at the front panel. So you've got obviously your 4 channels across here, 1 and 2 here, 3 and 4 here, and then you've got group and channel buttons for each one of these. So right here is channel 1's group and channel buttons, and then mix 2's group and channel buttons, mix 3 and mix 4's. You also have individual quote unquote volume controls. These are really gain controls. This is how much signal you're pulling in, right? How much you're increasing the signal that's coming into the device. What I do like about these knobs is that they are indented knobs, so they have a click to them when you turn them. So if you wanted everything set at noon or 3 o'clock or whatever, you're not guessing with a smooth turn knob. You can actually put everything on the exact same click at, for example, 3 o'clock. Also on the front, you have a power button here. Hold it to turn it off, and then just click it to turn it on. It's great, and it boots super fast. Right here in the middle, you have your sync buttons. So if you wanted to sync the belt pack to one of the channels here, you just click whichever channel or whichever mix you want to sync to, 1, 2, 3, or 4. You hold the belt pack in front of it. There's a little IR window here, and in just a second or two, it syncs up and you're good to go. Now, since we're on the topic of syncing and channels, it's important to know that this does not have an automatic scan feature, the transmitter nor the belt packs. You will need to go and manually sort and figure out the best channel and group for your RF environment. In addition, it's important to note that the bandwidth of this system is split out between the 4 individual IEM mixes. So while this thing has, like, I think it's 28 megahertz of bandwidth that it can exist within, it's divided out amongst the 4 channels. Now, if we take a look at the back here, lots of I/O along the back, but essentially we'll start down here on number 1. You have your left and right in, and then your left and right loop out. And then you're in channel 2, and you have your left and right in and your left and right loop out. Pretty simple and straightforward. Right here in the middle is your power, and of course they give you a little clip on the back to loop your power into so it doesn't get snatched out. And then of course you've got 2 antennas on either side. These do come in the box. As well in the box is rack ears so that you can rack mount this, and an antenna relocation kit so that you can move these to the front. If you're ever going to rack mount IEMs, you want to make sure that you move the antennas to the front, unless of course you're using an antenna combiner, and then you can of course move them out wherever, because you're relocating antennas outside the rack at that point. So what are my final thoughts on the Phenyx Pro PTM-33? It's decent enough. It's going to get the job done, right? Like I said before, in researching this project, I had a very tight, very limited budget to do this on, as it was part of a larger project, and this was something that got thrown in kind of at the last minute. But that said, I think it's going to be fine, especially coming off the X-Vive systems. And not to dog those, I've used those before. We've used them with our youth group for 5 years now, and we started with 6, and I think we're down to 3 or 4. They do die. The batteries do wear out over time, you know, after so many recharges, but they were fine. I think this is going to kind of be on that same level. The difference is these are in a different bandwidth. This one specifically is actually in the 900 band. The other option you can get from Phenyx Pro is the 500 band, but we're also putting some microphones in that are in that band, and I didn't want to deal with coordinating that because it's manual RF coordination, right? I can't network these like I can the Shure stuff, and I can't, you know, use wireless workbench with these, so to speak, because of what they are. They don't have an auto scan feature or anything like that. As well, guys, when it comes to cost, this whole system right here is about $500, and you basically have a built-in antenna distro system because it's all in one unit. If you went with multiple single or dual channel units, and then you end up having to use an antenna combiner and all this kind of stuff, now you're up at $1,000, $1,200, and that's if you stayed with Phenyx Pro. If you go to somebody like Shure to do a split PSM 300 system where maybe you're using 3 or 4 units and you're using them in mix mode, so you can get maybe 8 mixes or 6 mixes out of them, plus an antenna distro, now you're in the $5,000 or $6,000 range. And then if you go up to the PSM 900s and you want say 8 mixes, for example, like we do in the large worship center downstairs, then you're looking at, somewhere between $10 and $18,000, depending on the build out and the configuration. So for what it's worth, just a quick buy to put this in and get their ears working again, this is a well spent $500. Now, in 6 months, that may change. I'll kind of update you guys maybe down in the comments about how it's been, but we're gonna try it and see what happens. It sounds fine. The one thing to note about that is that you do have to have something that brings it up to line level. So I initially tested this by sending a mix out of my computer straight into the back of it, and could not get that hot enough to actually hear it through the IEMs. Um, which had me concerned about whether the system actually worked or not, until I went and grabbed my guitar rig and plugged it in, and sure enough, it was plenty hot enough to get that coming through there. And it sounded fine. I could hear very clearly what I was playing. I feel like there's a little more low end in this system than what I actually had built into the patch that I was using. But the high end was perfectly fine. Phenyx claims that it's a 20 to 20 frequency range, so yeah, we're going to give it a shot and see what happens. If you have questions about this, drop it down in the comments below. And hey, what about this makeshift YouTube studio? My wife put this together for me, and I think she did a great job. If you saw the last video, you know that we welcomed our first child into the world a couple of months ago. And so my office became her nursery. So my wife put this together for me, and I think she did a great job. If you agree, let us know down in the comments. And if you disagree, I didn't ask you. But thanks for hanging around today, guys. I hope you got a little bit of knowledge out of this video. If you want more in depth about what this system can do, go see Scott Ull's channel. He's got a great video on it. And I will see you guys real soon.